Okay, folks, in case you haven't heard about it, the Army Corps of Engineers told the Standing Rock Sioux Chairman David Archibald II Sunday that the current route for the controversial Dakota Access Pipeline will be denied. Now, this is a continuation of what happened in September, where the Army Corps of Engineers issued a statement and a temporary restraining order from the pipeline continuing work that was designated to go through Army Corps of Engineer land that they controlled. All right, that was temporary. This one is more permanent. I'm going to play for you the clip from back in September, where a lot of attention was first focused on this.
And gaining steam on the national level, the Dakota Access Pipeline has Native Americans in the Standing Rock Indian Reservation fighting tooth and nail. Reporter Megan Hahn joins us now live with more on how Omaha is involved.
The Bold Alliance is joining forces with groups across the country in a nationwide No DAPL Day of Action tomorrow. A rally is planned in front of Omaha's Army Corps of Engineers office tomorrow evening, where demonstrators say they'll show solidarity with the Standing Rock Sioux tribe using song, dance, and prayer. About 100 similar protests are planned in front of Army Corps buildings across the country. The grassroots movement against a $3.8 billion Dakota Access Pipeline is gaining traction as construction continues, despite requests from federal agencies to voluntarily stop.
It's not just about the pipeline itself, but it's about a larger issue of fossil fuels and their interactions with tribes, and to make sure that they are following their treaty obligations.
Activists say the project puts the Missouri River at risk for contamination. They say the Army Corps of Engineers fast-tracked the project across treaty lands without consulting tribal nations.
See, and that was the problem originally. They fast-tracked this thing without talking to the Native Americans that lived there, or, just as importantly, not performing the environmental studies that were necessary.
Including the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. Energy Transfer Partners maintains that the route parallels existing pipelines crossing private land upstream from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. Those against the pipeline say they're taking a bold stand with peaceful demonstrations of civil disobedience.
I had never been arrested before any of this, and in the last 2.5 months I've been arrested 3 times while participating in peaceful civil disobedience, because unfortunately that's all we have up our sleeve at this point. We tried every other avenue to stop this pipeline.
The pipeline is nearly complete except for a portion running underneath the Missouri River. Energy Transfer Partners says the pipeline is one of the safest, with pipeline placed 3 feet or more underneath the earth and monitored 24 hours a day.
Yeah, when have we heard that one before?
On Friday, Energy Transfer Partners CEO Kelsey Warren said he believes the pipeline will be backed by a Trump presidency. We've reached out to the Omaha office of the Army Corps of Engineers, but they've yet to respond with comments about tomorrow's protest. Reporting live in studio, Megan Hahn, KMTV Action.
Yeah, now, unfortunately for them, but fortunately for the tribe, once the Army Corps of Engineers came in and issued their final ruling that they weren't going to allow that pipe to go underneath that river, and that environmental studies had to be done, this pushed that project back at least 3 or more years. Now, Trump can probably come in later on and try to place pressure on the Army Corps of Engineers, but that is a nonpartisan portion of the government with both military and civilian people controlling it. So he may have a tough road to hoe trying to pressure them to reissue the licenses they need in order to place that pipeline underneath the river. Now, here was the current situation. Now, I believe what pushed this over the top was the 2,000 vets that came in from all over the country. And there were a bunch of vets that came in from Flint, Michigan. And they made statements that they were there because obviously they were in solidarity because of the problems that Flint was experiencing as far as their water being jacked up. Now, those 2,000 vets, and some news outlets were reporting it was only maybe a couple of hundred, but I think those were the guys that were on the right, because there were other more moderate and guys leaning to the left. Their news organizations were reporting that the number was closer to the 2,000 than the couple of hundred that other people were reporting. Anyway, here's the actual story. The Secretary of the Army Corps of Engineers told Standing Rock Sioux Chairman David Archibald II Sunday that the current route for the controversial Dakota Access Pipeline will be denied. That's great news. I only wish that they had run that damn pipeline through the original route, which was past a bunch of white communities, and they were the ones that complained, and they were the reason why this pipeline was rerouted illegally. Although we've had continuing discussions and exchanges of new information with the Standing Rock Sioux and Dakota Access, it's clear that there's more work to do, the Army's Assistant Secretary of Civil Works, Joel and Darcy, said in a statement Sunday evening. The best way to complete the work responsibly and expeditiously is to explore alternative routes for the pipeline crossing. Yeah, they should have done that from the beginning. As word spread throughout the protest camp in Cannonball, North Dakota, cheers could be heard breaking out. Federal government officials have given activists, which include Native American tribe members and non-members alike, a Monday deadline to vacate the camp because of worries about the plunging temperatures. Yeah, they really worried about those temperatures when they were spraying, using water cannons to spray the protesters. They were really worrying about that. Now there's really no reason. The local sheriff and other parties can leave, and as long as the tribe can monitor the people from the Dakota Access Company, make sure that they're not doing anything untoward, things hopefully can get back to normal. The planned route of the 1,172-mile Dakota Access oil pipeline would have run within a half mile of the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation and crossed beneath the Missouri River. Opponents had said the pipeline would adversely impact drinking water and disturb sacred tribal sites, which they didn't give a shit about originally. The Obama administration had on multiple occasions asked that Energy Transfer Partners, the company behind the project, voluntarily stop construction, but the installation of hyper beam lights there last month shows that request has been ignored. Energy Transfer Partner CEO Kelsey Warren, who remained publicly silent on the pipeline for months as protests forced a halt to the pipeline's construction, told NBC News in an interview in November that he was 100% sure that the pipeline would be approved by a Trump administration, regardless of what the Army Corps ultimately decides. Former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders released a statement saying, "I appreciate very much President Obama listening to the Native American people and millions of others who believe the pipeline should not be built." Yeah, one thing about it though, Trump can't issue an executive order giving them permission to do that because there are permits and studies that by law have to be done. So this is a good deal as far as the Sioux tribe is concerned, and hopefully, saner heads will prevail, and these guys will decide to take that pipeline elsewhere. But for now, it is a victory for the people versus big oil.